In the top stories, Prime Minister Drew revives unresponsive passenger on flight from the United States. Cabinet approves honorarium for SWMC workers, and new landowners receive properties free of cost. The details on these stories and more after the break.
Always wanted a motorcycle, but they've been too expensive. I pass in on my way to work, and then boom, I see courts of motorcycles outside. I'm excited. I get up one day, I go down, I spoke to this guy. I think his name was Sheena, this short, chubby little guy, you know. I purchased two bikes so far. It was the 150 SL and the 250 Dragon. This blue, beautiful AKT TT Dragon. This is my baby. I call her Becky. She gives me the best ride ever. My name is Storyboy Nick, and I live to ride my AKT.
Mosoka, 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 Mosoka.
Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Channel 5 newscast. I'm Carla Barrage. Reports are circulating online that Prime Minister Honorable Dr. Terence Drew may have saved the life of an elderly male passenger on a flight from the United States to St. Kitts. ZIZ News spoke with the Prime Minister's press secretary, Adelcia Conifer-Lance, who confirmed that Prime Minister Drew, who is a medical doctor, rendered assistance to an older male passenger who was having difficulties. According to reports online, the passenger had a sudden episode and was unresponsive. Responding to the flight attendant's call for assistance, Dr. Drew came to his aid and the passenger was soon resuscitated. The passenger was reportedly taken off the plane to a nearby hospital for further examination. Press Secretary Conifer-Lance said more information will be released as soon as it becomes available. 50 workers at the Solid Waste Management Corporation, SWMC, were approved to receive an honorarium in the amount of $2,080 on Friday, 11th November. Minister responsible for SWMC, Honorable Dr. Joyelle Clark, said she is thankful that the process has been completed, which now allows for the 50 workers to be compensated for their invaluable services during the COVID-19 pandemic. During previous meetings with the staff of the corporation, Minister Clark assured the workers that their concerns related to their services during the pandemic were valid and would be addressed. The paid workers include litter wardens, drivers, and loaders, whose jobs included collection and disposal of waste from residences and government-run facilities that housed persons infected with COVID-19 or who were in quarantine. The Cabinet recently approved the payment of an honorarium to qualifying persons deemed frontline workers. A number of residents of Legreat will soon be legal owners of lands they've occupied for generations, according to Honorable Conris Maynard, Parliamentary Representative for Constituency Number 3 and Minister of Public Infrastructure. In an interview with the St. Kitts Nevis Information Service, Minister Maynard gave an update on the situation.
I'm very, very pleased to relate that I would have written in my capacity as the representative of this area to the government, to the ministry, the responsible ministry, seeking support to have the land transferred to the residents, the long-time residents of Legreat at no cost. And I'm happy to report that the government has approved for that to happen. And now we're going to the next stage, which is doing all of the paperwork associated with that, working out the issuing of crown grants, such that when they get those crown grants, they can now go and get the land registered in their name. And so during the political campaign before the last election, I gave a commitment that I would lobby the government to ask that the land be transferred to them at no cost.
This, he said, is similar to the Village Lands Freehold Purchase Act of 1996, which gave the persons living in the village area the opportunity to own the lands where they lived since February 1967. The tenants had to pay legal and surveyor's fees. The tenants at Legreat will not. This is a departure from a previous arrangement made by the former administration, in which the prospective owner would have to pay transfer and other fees in a particular time frame. One beneficiary gave his thoughts on the initiative.
And I feel excellent because, as you say, we live up here a couple of years now, and it will be a hard task where we go pay this ton of money to pay this land, because we work the land from small, and it will benefit us to get the land free.
No time frame has been given for the finalization of the process. St. Kitts and Nevis's permanent delegate to UNESCO, Ambassador Dr. David Doyle, Secretary General for St. Kitts and Nevis National Commission, Ms. Dorothy Warner, and Project Officer Mrs. Shermel Doer Henry met virtually on Tuesday, 8th November with Minister of Education, Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, and Permanent Secretary Mrs. Lisa Pistana to update them on the operations of the National Commission. The purpose of the meeting was to inform the recently elected minister of the role of UNESCO, particularly in advancement of education and in the development of the Federation in general. Ambassador David Doyle informed the minister of the various project proposals that had been submitted to UNESCO and gave updates on their progress. He gave an update specifically on the accreditation of higher diplomas in the Federation.
We went through a first phase with these two Irish consultants up to the end of 2021. And this looked at literally strengthening. We already have an accreditation process or system, as you probably know, but it's not in line with international standards. UNESCO has approved this second phase. Another $25,000 will be allocated to us in order to $25,000 to hire a leading edge, seasoned group of experts who will come again, work alongside you and your colleagues to develop a whole list of guidelines.
Education for sustainable development was also discussed.
UNESCO has pioneered in this area. It believes that ESD should be integrated at curriculum level throughout the entire school cycle, starting at kindergarten all the way up, to sensitize young people to the issues associated with sustainable development, particularly in a small island developing state. Although this project was approved by UNESCO, sadly, we have not been able to garner or secure funding for the ESD project.
Minister Hanley expressed his appreciation to the UNESCO representatives for the work they continue to do.
I want to thank you as well for the contributions and the assistance that you have been providing for our federation all of these many years. And as a new minister, I have to learn as much as I can, and I'm grateful for the expertise that I have around me, because I am happy to be working with her as she guides me through this process, especially with the projects that are sponsored by UNESCO, and I look forward to further meetings and dialogue with you.
Ms. Warner provided brief insights into the composition of the National Commission, as well as collaboration with the government departments that reflect UNESCO's domains of culture, natural and human sciences, and information and communication. After the break, RSS celebrates 40 years, and Republic Bank is the title sponsor for Talented Teen. Stay with us.
Elevate your experience with Flow's fiber-fast internet and mobile combined. Enjoy double data and unlimited talk on 4 mobile lines, plus up to 35 megabits per second home internet speed at the best rate, giving you the best value to stay connected. I think our Flow Mobile is elevated.
You think?
An elevated experience starts with Flow at home, powering double data and unlimited talk on 4 mobile lines at the best rate. Visit a Flow store to sign up today.
Fresh Look Paint and Tile Sale. Give your home a fresh look with a fresh coat of paint and a fresh set of tiles. From Holtzman's Building and Evil Center's 25% off Fresh Look Paint and Tile Sales event. Yes, come to Holtzman's Building and Evil Centers today and get fresh savings of 25% off all paints and tiles store-wide. Come and give your home a fresh new look with fresh savings and fresh new colors. Fresh new piles of tiles in all styles with a fresh 25% off store-wide on all paints and tiles at Holtzman's Building and Evil Center. Give your home a fresh start with a fresh new look with fresh new colors, fresh new piles of tiles in all styles, and fresh quality paint at Holtzman's Building and Evil Center. Fresh Look 25% off paints and tiles sales event. See store for details.
Welcome back. The Regional Security System RSS celebrated its 40th anniversary of serving the region recently. To speak about the significant milestone, Warrant Officer Cheryl Dean of the RSS joined Superintendents James Francis and Travis Rogers on this week's edition of Policing with You. He said the RSS was created out of a need for a collective response to security threats.
It was created out of a need for a collaborative response to security threats which were impacting the stability of the region in the 70s and 80s. And in 1982, 4 members of the OECS, the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, namely Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they signed a memorandum of understanding with Barbados to provide neutral assistance on request. Now that is very important, neutral assistance on request.
Yes.
So the RSS is not an organization that will go into a country. It must be requested.
Warrant Officer Dean outlined the makeup of the RSS through its headquarters in Barbados.
Ministers responsible for security in the respective RSS member states. From there, you then have all of the security chiefs, and I must state here that the RSS is a hybrid organization consisting of military and police under their respective commands. But when they are deployed, they come under a contingent commander. So apart from the Council of Ministers and the security chiefs, then we have the RSS headquarters consisting of the executive director, the deputy executive director, a number of directors for plans, training, assets recovery, policing, and risk management. There's also a project coordinator, and there's also a regional maritime officer.
He spoke of how the regional security system has grown and made an impact over the last 40 years.
The RSS is today seen as a model establishment, not only in the Caribbean, but I would have to say throughout the world. And on a regular basis, we get officials coming to the RSS headquarters to receive a briefing on the operation of the RSS there. They come and see how we operate as members. Bearing in mind that we have military and we have police, but the unity is there. And because of our strategic management, because of our system of operation, and also because of that cooperation between the member states, we are able to ensure that the RSS works to the maximum benefit of the entire Caribbean.
St. Kitts and Nevis joined the regional security system after gaining independence in September 1983. Republic Bank has been named the title sponsor of the Talented Teen Pageant. This latest development followed a handing over ceremony at the bank's main branch on 4th Street, where country manager Pamela Herbert Daniel presented $30,000 to the St. Kitts Nevis National Carnival Committee. This show will be staged at the Marriott Dome on Tuesday, December 20th, and will now be called the Republic Bank National Talented Teen Pageant. Mrs. Herbert Daniel said that the bank is proud to be associated with National Carnival for the first time. She also stated that Republic Bank is especially pleased to be part of the nation's youth development at a time of great societal challenges. In addition to the cash sponsorship, the bank will open savings accounts for all the contestants with an initial deposit and provide guidance on the importance of financial management with respect to savings. 8 contestants will participate in the Republic Bank National Talented Teen Pageant, which returns to Sugar Mass 51 after a 2-year absence due to COVID-19. The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank ECCB has extended the submission deadline for its 40th anniversary stamp design competition. The deadline is now the 25th of November. The competition was initially announced in October. Entries will be judged in 3 categories: 5 to 11 years, 12 to 17, and 18 and over. Entrants may choose to depict an individual or a group of people, as well as any major achievement or development they consider to be instrumental to the legacy of the ECCB. The bank says entrants may also choose to illustrate the ECCB's record of excellence and forward-looking vision that has been recognized through various international awards for innovation. Interested candidates should submit their entries along with the age category they are in to the ECCB's 40th Anniversary Planning Committee via email efapc@eccb-centralbank.org. The email should have the subject line 40th Anniversary Stamp Design Competition. According to the bank, the competition is open to residents of Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Employees of the ECCB and its affiliates and their close relatives, as well as anyone connected with the judging of the competition, are ineligible to enter. The Willful Skillful Cricket Club will be paying tribute to sport icon Luther Kelly with the staging of the annual Luther Kelly Over 35 Cricket Tournament this weekend. Local organizer of the tournament, Jason Brazier, told ZIZ News that Luther Kelly's contribution to national sport is very significant.
Luther Kelly is most known in the field of cricket, but he has represented St. Kitts in no less than 5 different sporting disciplines: football, cricket, athletics, basketball, and one of the tennis, whether hand tennis or whichever one. So he's well known, not just locally, but regionally, and I also dare say internationally.
Brazier said the tournament also highlights the fact that sportspersons 35 and over are still in their prime.
What we try to do is bring out the best of people. Actually, in terms of the players, persons who, they're still active, because 35 to 40, you're pretty young. I mean, we've seen persons playing international cricket, up to 40 years old. So you still have active players. So expect to see the best of St. Kitts and Nevis, the very, very best.
The Luther Kelly Over 35 Cricket Tournament will be held on Saturday and Sunday at Warner Park. It begins with a brief opening ceremony on Saturday afternoon at 12:30. Coming up in regional news, Guyana has no objection